What's going on, guys? This is Kraken King coming back at you on a dreary Sunday. Today's video will be an unboxing of the new modeled 5-ton electric log splitter from Harbor Freight. Now this is a Central Machinery branded one. It is the newer brand that's really not too favored. It's the 63366. That means it is a two-handed operation. The previous model before this was a switch you could turn on and leave on. It was a one-handed operation for the lever, and you could put your other hand up here. This is the newer model that has been changed. But this is the box. I figure I would bring you guys along on the unboxing, the assembly, my overall thoughts of that, and then I have quite a bit of wood to end up splitting, and so I figured I would bring you along on that also. See what it's like with this newer model, if they've changed anything. So stick around. What it looked like on the inside of the electric log splitter box. This is it. Comes pretty decently packaged. Comes within owner's manual. Looks like it has a servicing. Oh, this is the handle. That's about it there. Kind of bring you down into the box. This is it. Looks like it is already fully assembled. So I'm gonna lift this sucker up and put it up here on the table and bring you guys back. Alright, well, here it is in all its glory. I will bring you around. This is how it comes out of the box. The only assembly required is this handle. Screws right on. Whenever you go to store it upright, like in this position here, you will need to remove this handle. So the tires seem to be a little different than the older model. It is a two-handed operation, like I'd said earlier. So, and they have actually enclosed this around. A lot of people were just putting clamps here, but the waterproof button seems to be a nice touch. The bezel seems to be tight. I hear this is a weak point, so guys, be careful when you're jacking this thing around. I know it breaks right here really easy, so I'm not sure what I'll do with that, but here is the stickers. So here it is. I thought it was a 15 amp model, but it looks like you don't get the 15 amps, so that must be the difference, because I remember the older one-handed operation was a 15 amp model. So hopefully this motor hangs in there. Moving around up here to the front, it does say that you'll need to remove this plug. It's a kind of an air vent. So right before you go to split, you'll undo this and allow the cylinder to move forward and backwards. Screw this back up whenever you go to store it. There it is. I believe this is where you would check your fluid. So you'd put it in an upright fashion, you'd pull this out, and I believe the old model had a dipstick like a car. Now I'm not for sure what this one will have, but once this needs to be checked, I'll check it before I start it, and then I'll let you know. Looks like they do have Loctite on these nuts, so that's a plus. Overall, the handle seemed to work pretty well whenever I lifted it up here on the table. It is pretty heavy, but this is pretty much all stuff you can see in the store. But for those of you that are looking at this review, they do have gussets in here, so this looks kind of an addition from the 7-ton, one of the first models that they had. But here is some other things here. Risk of permanent equipment damage. Check hydraulic fuel level. So there we go. Looks like it does have a dipstick. And that's how you would store it in an upright position. If you'd like, I think you can modify this handle even to get it to work in an upright position. So I've seen some guys do that, where they have flipped it upside down and make a little stand, and then they can split with it upright. So enough rambling. I'm going to try to set this all up. First I need to change the oil in this rig so I can start using it. We'll fire it up, get the trailer, and then we'll move this around. It does advise that you use a good power source. You don't want to run a long extension cord that can't really carry the current, because it needs 12 amps, it looks like, at a minimum. I would try to say at least a 15 to 20 amp dedicated plug to run this, so you don't risk burning up your motor. So anyways, I will set this up and bring you along when I go to split. You back to just a quick glance here. So if you look at here, it does look like it is the 12 amp model. Looks like some specifications that you might want to know before purchasing this. Also about the extension cord, it does need to be a grounded outlet. It does say it needs to be a 3-prong outlet. And also, here is some stuff about those extension cords. So if you plan on splitting far away from where you're going to be at, you can pause the video now and hopefully this will show up, but this will show you what you should purchase also if you're going to be doing some things away from like a dedicated plug. Looks like this is the only assembly model, or the only assembly that's required here. And then hopefully I can kind of just go through this real quick for you guys in case there's something else. There's a way that you can check the dipstick vent plug. Looks like AW32 hydraulic fluid not included, so I'm glad that I checked that out. I'll need to check to make sure if it's empty or not. And then I'll let you go. Looks like this is how you'd replace the hydraulic fluid. Talks about bleeding the hydraulic system and then troubleshooting. So it's a parts list, repaired parts, and here's the exploded diagram of it. Pretty simple little tool, but I think it comes in pretty handy. So I'll be tilting this thing up and checking the hydraulic fluid and letting you know if it comes with fluid or not. Alright, for those of you guys wanting to know what size this nut is on the top, it is a 3/4. I did pull this off. We'll test it here. See these two lines? I don't know if you can see it right here at the foot. There's a line here and then a line here. That's where it needs to be at. So I'm going to drop this in and we will see if it comes with fluid or not. Alright, let's see what it says over here in the light. Looks like it is in between, like the recommendation says. So it looks like it is ready to use from the store. Just be careful with these threads. I have seen another reviewer say that this is like cast and that the threads were cut really poorly, so I was a little worried about taking this out, but so far mine seems to be screwed in real well and it wasn't leaking in the box. So just remember to keep this little copper washer on there, and I think that helps seal it up. So I'll lightly snug this back down, and this is what I was talking about in the upright position. You'd have to modify the stand down here, but then this is where your handle is, so looks like you'll still be able to use it in a smaller handle. So I'm going to tighten this back up and get back on it. Alright, I'm ready for a dry test. So I have a dedicated 20 amp 3-pronged cord running straight to this with hardly any space, 220 running in. And then I also took this bread tie that's on your little plug up here and saved the little ring on there. Once you unscrew that, I just used the bread tie to kind of hold on to it so I wouldn't lose it. I can put that right there. This is a two-handed operation, so I will have to set you over here and then just kind of give you our first little test run of it, see how if it actually works. There you go. That's full speed. Let go. I thought it was supposed to. Oh, you have to let off the. That's fancy. So it doesn't. So, for those of you guys thinking about using a clamp, it does look like to retract, you are going to have to actually let off. looks like from this newer model. The old model, like the one that was two-handed operation, I had seen some guys have a clamp right here, so it looks like you won't be able to do that on this one until I figure it out. But I'm glad you guys came along. Sorry about the lighting. So far it doesn't seem to be leaking anywhere after that short little run, but it wasn't under pressure. But I'm gonna go and get some wood around the corner here and then just give it a try. So hang tight and we'll test it out. Yeah, and for those of you that like to get a little glimpse of Samson, this is my way of keeping him by the shop and out of mischief. But as you see behind me, that's I believe a 20-inch bicycle. It's the son's. So he has gotten a lot bigger. I think we've had him about 6 months. He's starting to really fill out. Turned out to be a pretty good dog if you can keep him close by.